everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. I'm really excited to be diving back into Heroes of Terrinoth again. I want to see how this is going to pan out. We now have the Nemesis in with us as well right here, engaged with our Elder, which is not the best thing ever. But we're going to talk about some corrections first before we get into the first round of this particular video. The biggest correction I want to make, guys, is in terms of black dice that you roll at the same time when you're doing one of your actions, like resting, exploring, attacking, or aiding. One of those activation cards. So in those cases where you happen to be rolling a black die, I want to be 100% clear that everyone understands how the actual damage is taken from an enemy as well as blocked if possible on my side. So let's say a hypothetical situation here. We had the Goblin Witcher and we had the Zombie. If both of these characters were in play and we were making, let's say, a rest action, so basically we're supposed to roll white die, but we're also supposed to roll a black die for every engaged enemy with us, and currently there's 2. So we'd be rolling 2 black dice. Now we already know this part, but what I want to talk about is the results of this roll. So let's say hypothetically we rolled these dice and this is actually what we got. We got a hit for the Goblin Witcher and we got a blank for the Zombie. Now, of course, you're not going to pick these 2 dice up, roll, and say this one's for this one and this one's for this one. You're actually just going to roll, and if you get a hit and a blank like I just did, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to assign the hit to the enemy that has the nastiest hit, the actual nastiest attack value that's going to come at you. So in this case, the Goblin Witcher would hit me for 2. Okay, so that should be fairly clear from my previous videos as well, but I wanted to get to a specific point where we talk about defense. So let's say hypothetically I'm rolling that white die for resting and I land a shield like I can see right here in front of me. Now, what I might have done in the last video, and I think once or maybe twice, is I actually took it as a 1-for-1. I decided that a shield blocks the entire hit from the enemy. That's not true. It's probably from another game that's sticking in my head for some strange reason, but it's not how the defensive dice are actually resolved in Heroes of Terrinoth. How it works is the one hit would be calculated as 2 because it comes from the worst of the 2 enemies, so I'd be taking 2 wounds. 1 shield would allow me to reduce that wound total by 1, meaning I would still take a damage. So I just want to make sure we're completely clear that just because you roll a defense, even though it looks like it would fully block the attack, it doesn't. It's going to reduce the amount of wounds that come from attacks that you get on your black dice. So hopefully that makes more sense, and we'll see this as we go through this upcoming part as well, and it'll be a lot more clear. That's the major thing that I wanted to point out before we get going. All right, a lot less minor of a correction here. This is more of just a heads up for people in case there's any confusion on how an ability would actually put damage on an enemy. So in this particular case here with this ability, it says after resolving your attack action, for each enemy you defeated, choose an enemy engaged with you, one of those, and that enemy immediately would go ahead and suffer 1 wound. Now, how I interpreted that was if I had chosen the Zombie, for instance, you'll notice I got a resilience or basically a resistance number. I keep calling it resistance, but it's actually resilience in this, and it's the gray circled number. So I kept thinking if you put a wound onto the zombie would just gobble it up. It would just be blocked. So it was pointless. That's not the case. This ability actually allows me to go ahead and put 1 wound straight through to the character of my choice that's engaged with me. So that's actually really huge, comes into play real big, especially when we start fighting somebody like the Nemesis who has 2 resilience. So it might be really wise with that ability to get the Nemesis off of the Elder, bring him over to Krutz, so that as I kill off these silly minions beside him, I'm able to take advantage of that special ability. This is just something I wanted to point out because it definitely comes into play in terms of strategy. All right, it's time now to go ahead and begin the very first round of this video. But first, we're going to talk about the very last thing we did at the end of the last video, which was try to determine whether we wanted to spend 3 progress or not to avoid having an enemy engage with the party leader. Now, the party leader currently is the Elder, so if I have an enemy come out, it's going to immediately inflict damage on the Elder because the Elder's at 3 maximum. So I'm actually going to go ahead and choose to spend 3 for this first round and hope that that actually helps us out. Now, the downside of this is I automatically lose the bonus of getting a free success token at the start of each of my activations for my heroes, as well as I don't and no longer get 1 additional success and 1 additional defense as a bonus for the scenario for having successfully progressed to the location. So I'd have to try to go ahead and forage or advance using my explore actions to try to get that back up to 12 if I can possibly do that during this particular round, if I want to try to make advantage of that ability. So I've chosen to go ahead and do it that way to avoid taking some damage. Now we're going to head over to the Elder and we're going to start the very first activation of the hero phase. So we're starting off the very first round of this video. We're going to be starting off with the Elder here, and the Elder's weakened from our last video. And it says on this card, at the start of your turn or activation, if all of your activation cards are readied, discard the card. And they are readied. So we can finally get rid of this weakened condition. Oh, took quite a while to get rid of that. It's kind of nice to see that disappear. Biggest thing with this particular turn that's going to be the hardest for me is the fact that I have 3 enemies engaged with me and they're all readied. So basically whatever I do, no matter what activation card I use, I'll be rolling 3 dice at some point. The only thing that could reduce that is by healing myself, but healing myself at this point, don't know if it's worth it. I mean, it is kind of, because I am pretty damaged, but I'd only be able to exhaust one of these enemies. Oh, I guess I could exhaust the Golem. May not be a bad idea, actually. I mean, it's not the best strategy. I'd much rather fight something, but being able to exhaust is nice. Plus, I then go ahead and hopefully can heal off some health off myself, which is nice. I don't get the benefit of all the other cards being exhausted, though, and then I get to ready everything, and everything's already ready. So it's kind of a waste. That's the thing that I'm struggling with the most. The other thing I could do is forage. So I could try to push ourselves back over and above the location, or I could just say the heck with it, let's go ahead with an attack and just fight somebody. You know what, I'm kind of going that route. Let's just say the heck with it and let's just fight. I was thinking about doing something else, but you know what, let's just go for it. So the first thing is, you may become engaged with an enemy. I don't want to. I've already got 3. If I take another enemy engagement, I take damage. So now I'm going to go to the attack. I get to roll 2 white dice, and for all readied engaged enemies with me, I'm rolling 1 for each, so that's 3 black dice, which is pretty nasty. Before I go into this, I got to pick a target. So the target of my attack is going to be the Golem, the biggest, nastiest of, actually it's kind of in the between, not the nastiest, but the most reasonable one that we could kill this round. We need 6 total damage in order to get through, because it has a resistance of 1 or resilience of 1. So I'm going to add my 2 successes in so I can really make sure that we hopefully get past it. So we're already in a zone where we just need 4 successes, and it's possible, it's unlikely, but I'm going to go for it. It's a risk it's worth taking, I think. So here we go. Oh man, that was bad. Okay, that is terrible. What are the odds of that? That's actually incredibly scary. Okay, so wow, didn't see that coming. All right, so let's go ahead and resolve our dice. Good news is I got 2 hits, so that's nice. I did get a block, which is going to be essentially nice in terms of reducing the amount of wounds I take, which will be nice because this thing is going to trigger a whole bunch of nasty stuff off this guy. So the block is nice. I don't have anything else that I can do to manipulate the dice, but I do get to reroll one of these criticals. So I'll go ahead here, and we're just going to take another success token to represent that I got a critical, and then I'm going to reroll this one, and we're going to pray that I get another critical. Okay, so off screen here, I got another defense and another hit. So that's actually not bad. So in total, I ended up getting 5. Oh, 1 shy, really? That's the worst. I don't think there's anything else I could do to really make that any better. Yeah, so I'm just going to be short just by 1. It's the worst. Okay, so first we're resolving our dice. So the first thing we're going to do is put on 4 damage here. We would have got 5, but the resilience blocks 1, so we're just a little short of killing the Golem. That's too bad. The next thing we do is we deal with all of the enemy dice, which we roll 3 skulls, which is absolutely insane. So for each one, suffer 1 wound or this enemy recovers. We learned earlier that we can't choose when it's an or statement. We can't choose the one that does nothing. We have to have something happen, and it usually ends up being bad. So in this case, we have to actually take 3 wounds, but I did roll 2 shields. I no longer get bonuses from that really cool having my location fully progressed, so I really only have the ability to block 2 of the wounds, so 1 wound will slip through and hit me, so that's going to put me up by 1, and we've actually resolved it. But that could have been a lot uglier if I had not have gotten shields during that roll. That could have been really bad. So that's going to resolve that, but then you'll see down here, I also get to claim a success token. So I get to take a success token and bring it back. So that's good. So we'll get rid of the ones we used to spend, and I'll give myself 1 back like that. And that resolves my Elder's turn. Didn't exactly pan out great, but I could target this one later on with Krutz and hopefully be able to kill it off. So it might work out and not be so bad. So let's head over to Krutz and see what we can do with the first activation for him. All right, Krutz, you are really going to be the hero now because you're going to be using the Oath of Honor, and we're hoping that we can do as much damage as possible, take down a whole bunch of guys here. So the first thing it says is you may become engaged with one enemy. Yes, I want to engage the Goblin Archers that I hit last time because they only need one more damage to be taken out. So that's going to bring them down here, which is fine. I do want to bring these guys in because I want to keep them out of the shadows because they do that aim shot on the enemy phase that is 2 damage, and it's pretty nasty. So the next thing we can do here is we do an attack. It says roll 3 white dice, which is great. One of the strongest attacks that I have. And then before resolving this action, choose one other hero. You may target one additional enemy engaged with the hero. So we're obviously going to choose the Golem because the Golem is so close to being killed off. It would be silly not to do this because remember, we can take advantage of the really cool ability here because it says for each enemy you defeat, choose one enemy engaged with you and suffer damage. So we want to try to hit 2 different enemies, hopefully kill them both off and gain basically 2 additional hits that will then kill off maybe the zombie. And actually, it could really trigger some crazy stuff here if everything pans out nicely. So my actual target of my attack is going to be the Goblin Witcher. So I still need to inflict 5 wounds. And the only way that that's going to happen, or even have a chance of happening, is if I had some extra successes in there from the start. So there's 2 to get me on my way. But we have to roll 3 black dice because we have 3 readied enemies. So that's going to be fun. Hopefully we won't get 3 skulls again because that would be really bad. And the other thing we could have gotten, but we don't get this time around, we've gotten it before, is we get to normally apply 2 successes and a defense to the results if the Elder had 2 or more exhausted activation cards, and currently Clobber's the only one exhausted on that side of the board, so I don't get that benefit, sadly. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll these dice and we're going to cross our fingers that we get the successes we need. So in order to kill this Goblin Witcher and cause a chain effect of potentially killing up to 3 enemies with the way I'm planning this out, then we really, actually, I'm trying to think of this now. No, sorry, this can end up triggering and killing off 4 enemies if it pans out the way I want it to. Wow, that'd be pretty crazy. So I really want to try to get 5, I need 5 here plus 1 extra to come over and hit the Golem on the other side to kill 2, and then the 2 that I killed give me an extra wound each, so 1 wound there, 1 wound there would kill those 2. I could potentially kill 4 characters in 1 hit here. That's crazy, or 4 enemies. So I'm looking for 6, and I've got 2 already, so we need 4 hits off 3 dice. Not terrible odds, we need some double successes. So wish me luck here. Oh no, we didn't get enough. Okay, so that really didn't pan out so good. So let's go ahead here, put all these in a row so we can actually deal with them one at a time here. So going through the ranks, we didn't exactly get all the successes we wanted, so that's kind of unfortunate. I was really hoping to get everything I needed there, but that did not go as planned. So what's going to happen is I can put a number of wounds. I can actually divide this up however I want between the Golem that I targeted over here. I'm obviously going to put the 1 damage I need to kill this off the Elder, so I might as well just do that now. Total successes is 4, so 1 of them is going to go on the Golem, which will kill the Golem. So I have 3 left to divvy out. So let's go ahead and put the 3 on the Goblin Witcher because we have to, because we chose that as our engaged enemy. So only 2 get through because it has 1 resilience. So that's too bad. Doesn't really kill that. So the plan didn't really work out 100%. And then because we actually killed 1 of our, ooh, this is actually pretty nasty. Because we actually went ahead and we killed 1 enemy, we do get the advantage or the bonus of using this. So I can choose 1 enemy to take a damage. I can either choose to kill off the Goblin Archers because 1 damage will do it, or I could have the zombies be killed. So that's a tough one. I have to really think about what's better AI-wise during the enemy phase, and then we'll continue back around to the rest of the dice that we still have to deal with here. All right, so following the order of operations here again, now you might have noticed I killed off that Golem off to the side here. That's okay because that one's not readied with me. So these dice will not be using the Golem's attack in any way, shape, or form. It's only the enemies engaged with me that can actually make use of these hits. So I got rid of that one, no problem, even though technically you wait until the very, very end of resolving everything during the dice rolls before you start getting rid of monsters. But in this case, if you're hitting somebody else's monster, it's fairly safe to get rid of it. In this particular case, though, I do have 1 damage to give out, and I'm going to want to put it on the archers because they're the most painful. They keep going to the shadows and trying to hit me. I don't mind the zombie. It grabs, and all it does is just exhaust cards, but right now most of my cards are exhausted, so worst case scenario, I take 2 damage and just kind of move on. So it shouldn't be all that bad. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hold off on putting that ability damage, the 1 right here. I'm going to be putting it on the archers to kill them because that happens after I resolve the rest of the dice here, when the attack action is fully resolved. So we've already dealt with my success successes, so that's great. We know we have ability to reduce the wounds we get by 2, but we have to now go ahead and take hits from 2 different enemies, and they have to be the strongest. So basically a 2 and a 1 is going to come at us. And so with that, we're going to block 2 of them, and so 1 will get through. So we know right off the bat here we have to go ahead and grab a 1 and put that on Krutz. So not that terrible. And now we'll go ahead and we'll resolve that. The dice are done. We'll go ahead and put that damage on this Goblin Archer right here, and that kills this Goblin Archer off. Now you might be thinking, hey, you just killed another one. Can't you use that ability again? No, because it's only after resolving your attack action can you actually get that additional hit. And so doing that kill was not after another attack action. So you only get to do that once through. All these dice are now resolved, but we did decent. Not exactly what we wanted, actually, on both sides, or both fronts there, but we did decent. Now, we're going to have a zombie to deal with if we don't get rid of it in the coming round, but things are looking a little bit cleaner, so let's head back over to the Elder for the second activation. All right, so I think I have a plan here for the second activation for both of my heroes here. I'm going to go ahead and actually heal. This is a little bit uncharacteristic of me. It's interesting because you can choose to heal, once everything's exhausted, or you can actually do it quicker than normal. But I think right now is a good time because it allows me to exhaust a minion engage with me. And a minion here would be like the zombies. So this actually prevents this zombie from grabbing, which is going to go ahead and basically exhaust a bunch of my activation cards on the next turn. So I'd rather that, plus I don't have to take the damage from it, so it's nice. So I'll go ahead and do that. I can only exhaust a minion, not one of the nemesis or the major monsters. Now I'm going to do a rest, which is one white die, sorry. And resolving the action, we get +1 defense. So there's only one enemy engaged with me that's ready. So we're going to go ahead and roll like this. And I know going into it, I have +1 on my defense. So that's good. We'll see what happens here. Now I could, because I'm healing myself, and rest is actually going to allow me to recover health, or to recover health. I could actually use this success token in order to give me a success towards healing. So let's do that. This will help me to gain more, hopefully. Nice, that worked out perfectly. So we got a black, which means nothing's going to happen from the enemy, but we got a critical, so we might as well go ahead and represent that other success with another token. So we now have 2. We'll roll again. Another critical. Now this is what I like to see. This is kind of making up for all those skulls I got last time. This is what I like, is seeing those explosions. There we go. Look at that, all the way up to 4. So we can now convert all of those 4 successes and reduce my health by quite a bit. That actually worked out perfectly. That's a nice drop, especially when we know this guy is going to be hitting us for 3. So that really helped. Now we go right here, it says if all of the other activation cards are exhausted, another hero gets to recover, but they're not, so I don't get that. And then we ready all of our activation cards for this hero, and that is going to be it. Now, if I had have gone ahead and during my activation, when another hero, if the other hero had recovered something, like I've done in previous parts, I would have gotten more healing, but I didn't heal Krutz. So nothing else we can do here on this side. We're happy with that. We're going to head over to Krutz for the last activation, and then we're going to the enemy phase. I think Krutz wants to do the exact same type of thing that the Elder just did. He's going to go ahead and heal, but he'll get a nice benefit because everything's exhausted here. First one is you may exhaust a minion engage with you. Goodbye, zombie. This is another reason why I let the zombie live, because it won't be able to grab anything even after this fact. So it's great. So I'm resting, exhausting the minion, and we're going to go ahead and we get to roll 1 white die. I'm going to, do I put any successes with this? I guess I do want to heal myself a little bit. So let's do it. Let's put 2 successes in because that's the max we can add in to start, to try to get a lot of healing like we did in the last one. Hopefully we get lucky. We have +1 defense going into it, and we only have 1 enemy that's engaged, so it'll be a similar roll to the last one. 1 white, 1 black, going in with 2 success. Ooh, nice, look at that. So we ended up getting 3 total, so we're going to be able to remove 3 health. That's perfect. Or 3 wounds, I should say. And we paid that, so we'll get rid of those success tokens. We got a blank again on the black. Got super lucky there. Then next it says, if all other activation cards are exhausted, claim a success back. So definitely a good time to use those successes. And now we get to unexhaust all the cards. Awesome. So now we're all set up. We've exhausted most of the minions attached to us now. We still have some that we're going to have to deal with, but now we're moving into the enemy phase where they all get to activate. So the very first enemy to activate is going to be on the Elder. The only engaged monster or enemy with him is the Nemesis. So Nemesis is first off going to advance. It's already advanced because it's already engaged with the Elder. The next thing it's going to do is do a blood curse. So that doesn't sound good. It says either suffer 2 wounds or this enemy recovers health. Well, again, one of those or statements. So we have to take the worser, or we have to take the one that actually inflicts something on us. We can't take the easy path. So I'm going to go ahead and convert one of these 1s to a 3. And that's basically all that happens with him. So he is now resolved, and we'll go ahead and exhaust him to the side like this. Now we're going to go over to Krutz, and he's going to go ahead and activate one of his engaged enemies. So Krutz has the Goblin Witcher on him that's engaged, so the first one we have to activate. Hex says if this enemy is engaged with you, become weakened. No. So we do become weakened. There's nothing we can really do about that because it was a master. We couldn't have exhausted it anyway even if we wanted to. So we got a weaken card here that is going to sit on Krutz, and we've seen this card before. We had it on the Elder earlier, so not good. Next it's going to retreat, so it's actually going to leave us and head back out to the shadows, and then from the shadows it's going to take a pot shot at us, hitting us for 2 damage. So we'll convert one of Krutz's 1s into a 3, giving him a total of 6 damage. Now these ones we can do fairly quickly and easily. The first one I'll have is the Goblin Witcher will activate for the Elder Monk here, and it's going to just do 1 damage because it hexes, retreats, and then inflicts. It's not going to hex because it's not engaged. Retreating, it's already there. Inflicting 1 is just 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and add 1 damage to the Elder Monk. We're going to do the exact same thing with Krutz, which will resolve the other Goblin Witcher, which is sitting up here. So that's a nice quick activation. And then we can come right back to the Elder Monk again, and the Elder Monk will have to deal with the Goblin Archers. They're going to take an aimed shot, which is unfortunate. So that's going to put 2 on the Elder Monk, which is going to bump him up to, ooh, it's getting up there, 12. Because it inflicts 2 damage. And then it retreats, so he runs right back to the shadows again. Or sorry, he actually was never left the shadows. He's been here the whole time. He takes an aim shot for 2 damage. He retreats if he needs to, but he doesn't because he's already out there. And then he inflicts 1 more damage from distance. So he's really a pain when he's in the shadows. They're actually really strong from distance, which makes sense. Archers are nasty if you leave them alone. So that's going to do it. Now we have satisfied the enemy phase. Everybody's been resolved, and we're going to move on to the peril phase once we ready up everybody. Okay, so the peril phase is on us. We're going to go up the track 1 more spot here. So we're getting close to the end. All we need to do is survive to the very end of this peril track. So we just moved into a green. What does the green do again? It says each hero upgrades an activation card. That's good news. The party leader may also pass the token to another hero. Interesting. Got some decisions to make. So the Elder has a choice to make here. The Elder went the path of the Spirit Speaker. And so because of that, I only have 3 cards left to choose from, which are the other ones I didn't choose the first time around when I picked Aid. I now have Attack, Explore, and Rest as options. And I really want the Attack because I was actually really debating the Rest one as well because the Rest one is actually really, really good, but I just don't see myself resting in the next turn or so. I'd rather use something right off the bat that I can use, being that I'm fully rested and ready to go. So I'm going to take Nature's Fury, which is going to replace Clobber and make me a little bit more stronger on that side so that I don't take as much damage in attacks. And we'll take these other 2 cards and take them out. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put out our 3 cards for Krutz, our knight. All right, I'm going to go ahead and choose Hold Them Off. I think that's a perfect card thematically for what we need right now, which is an aid card. So I can become engaged with an enemy, which means I can pull something from somebody else. I can aid them. So I'm resolving this action for each of the target hero's exhausted activation cards, apply an extra defense. That's really powerful. And then choose one enemy engaged with the target hero. That enemy suffers a damage. So I can even hurt somebody as well. So that's really good. So I'll take the Hold Them Off card. Really, all of them are great, but this is the one that I'm going to choose for Krutz right now. So it's going to replace the Protect card that he had, and now he's all ready to go. Now I have to make a decision as to whether I want to change the party leader. So yes, I'm going to actually have Krutz become the new party leader. He's going to be leading the charge just like he was at the very beginning of the game. So we're going to have him start us off, but now we're finished the peril phase. We're going to move to the travel phase. And we know in the travel phase, we have basically one decision to make. Do we pay 3 progress from our location, or do we have an enemy become engaged with us? Because we're so near to the end of the scenario, I'm going to say let's pay the 3 progress. So we've actually kind of accumulated enough that we can ditch that. We still have 7 left to burn through there. So I'd rather just not have any more enemies engaged with us because that keeps the damage down. Plus, easier to handle these archers off in the shadows and the witchers that are out there too. Here we go into a brand new round with Krutz, and he's going to start it off as the party leader. He has a weaken condition, which I can thankfully get rid of because it's the beginning of the activation and I have all my cards readied. So that's how you get rid of the weaken card. Nice and easy there. I got that one during the enemy phase and it was already out the door the second I got it, which is perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and decide what we want to do. I'd like to do tough. I kind of want to do the Oath of Honor again. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to become engaged with another enemy, but I don't want to pull anyone too nasty. So I'm going to pull maybe the Witcher, the one I tried to kill earlier from the shadows. Now I could grab the Goblin Archers up here, which have also been a pain, but I'm just going to try to kill this thing off so we can be done with it because it actually inflicts 2 damage as well, which is pretty nasty. So we pulled him down, and this is going to be the target of my attack. I get 3 white dice going into this. I'm absolutely going to add 2 more successes into this pile because it lets me actually pick another enemy engaged with my other character in order to hit them. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the zombie in order to make life easier when the dice rolls happen for the elder. So I'll just bring this one over here so that we're aware that I can also hit this. This is my target. I'm hoping to kill the master by getting the really cool ability card that allows me to get an extra damage. So we'll see. I might be able to get the combo I was looking for last time. So in terms of enemies engaged with me, this one is not. These 2 are, and they're both ready. So 2 black dice are coming into play along with the 3 white dice. And I'm using 2 successes here going into this particular roll, hoping for good things. And all of my focus right now is on the Witcher. So here we go. Oh, and just another thing too, I don't get the wonderful bonus here at the bottom of Oath of Honor because Elder does not have 2 exhausted cards. So no extra bonuses there. All right, what do we get here? Oh my goodness, that's a lot. Okay, well, that's like a lot of defense, so that's really good, but we also triggered some hits, so that's not good. So overall, I got a total of 5 hits, which is a decent amount, I can say. We know that most of them are targeted at this guy. In order to kill it, we're going to need 3. 1 to get past the resilience, 2 to actually inflict enough wounds to kill it. So we'll put 2, or I apologize, we're going to put 3 on this one. So we're going to go ahead and we'll rack this thing up to 5 total damage, or 4 total damage, sorry, to kill it. Knowing that we put 3 in there. So, we put 3 in and we got 5, so we only have 2 remaining. So basically the other hit will go against the undead zombie minion on the other side. And the awesome thing, it gets past his resilience and his attack, so we actually do get to kill off the zombie on the other side too, which is awesome. So first, let's go ahead and resolve the rest of the dice before we start tossing enemies away. So again, I got all the successes dealt with right now. The defense is going to come in handy when I resolve these attacks. These 2 attacks mean I have to trigger damage from both the engaged enemies I have, so 2 and 3 are coming at me. I have 3 shields, so all 3 of it's blocked. Perfect. So this zombie that I hit is gone. I hit it for 2, got past his resilience, dead. This one is gone, and that means I just killed off 2 enemies in a perfect attack. That was awesome. Now I get 2 damage based on this when it says after resolving your enemy attack for each enemy you defeated, choose an enemy engaged with you and that enemy automatically suffers a wound. This does not take into account resilience, so this zombie is also dead, and I have 1 more damage I can give, but I have nobody engaged with me, so I can't use it. Too bad, but man, was that a heck of a turn. What a perfect result. Everything worked out flawlessly there. Krutz is in the clear and will be very useful going into the second activation. Okay, so we're going to start off here with the Elder. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to use Nature's Fury. You may become engaged with 1 enemy, so I'm going to pull down the Goblin Archers here, which is kind of nasty. We're going to go ahead now. It says you may exhaust a minion engaged with you. Perfect. I'm exhausting the Goblin Archers. Now I'm going to do an attack for 3 white dice, and because I exhausted those Goblin Archers, I only have to put in 1 black, which is great. Now I have to choose the target of my attack here. So the question is, do I go after the big guy, which is, you know, I'm kind of fighting an uphill battle. No damage on this guy at all. All this damage, just so you guys are aware, is all on the Elder. Definitely not on the Nemesis yet. So the fun part is whether or not... I have 23 total health of the Elder, so right now I've actually made it all the way to 13, but thank goodness for the extra 10. I'm still safe, but getting there. The Nemesis could be the target of this attack, or it could just go after the Goblin Archers to be safe. Probably should just be safe and go after the Goblin Archers just to get rid of them so they can't fly back. So let's just target the Goblin Archers for now, even though we know they're not going to activate. Well, I guess they're not going to activate during the enemy phase. It'd be kind of silly not to actually go after the big guy. Yeah, they're exhausted. Let's go after the big guy. That just sounds like way more fun. So let's go and see if we can hit him for something decent here. So I don't have any extra successes I can add in, sadly, but we'll see how it goes. Hey, that worked out perfect. So we got ourselves a 2 criticals, which is awesome. So we'll just throw 2 of these success tokens in to note we got 2 successes. And then we're gonna go ahead, we got a blank and a defensive die. Both of these are basically useless to me. Now we're gonna roll these criticals again. Ha! Another critical, look at that. Things are stacking up. So that's 3 successes, another shield is useless. We can roll again. Whew, another hit. We got 4 hits off that one. Pretty good. Guy's got a resilience of 2, so only 2 damage actually gets through though. So that's kind of the sad part. If I had the 2 successes to spend going in, I could have got past that resilience before I even started hitting him for some real damage. But 2's decent. It's something. It's not great, but you know, at least he didn't hit me back. Because there's a risk there. I could have been easily hit back for 3, so I don't know if that was even smart to do. Definitely took a risk there. And I could have killed off the goblin archers, but they're kind of stuck there anyway. They're exhausted, so no worries there. So we're done now with the Elder Monk. We're going to move back over for the second activation for Krutz. All right, so Krutz is going to go do Hold Them Off. I think we're going to do this one. This one here, oh, it's not that bad actually. It's pretty good. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Hold Them Off. Sounds like a good time to do that. So aid is going to allow me to go ahead and give a lot of successes to the Elder, which is really nice. But first off, it says you may become engaged with an enemy. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Witcher. Now the only thing with that is if I bring the Witcher down and I'm not actually attacking the Witcher, the downside is this Witcher is going to hex me. So that'd be really silly to engage. It'd be great to engage an Archer right now. So I could actually potentially grab the Goblin Archers from the Elder. That might actually help him out. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll actually engage myself with the exhausted Archers, pulling them away from the Elder. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to aid. So aid is going to give me 3 defensive dice. This guy's exhausted, doesn't affect the dice roll at all. So I just go ahead and roll. It doesn't matter about getting any plus results for defense, even though I would normally. If this guy was actually phase up, it would matter. So we got all of this. So we got 4 successes going into this. So that's going to be 4 actual success tokens going to be going on the Elder. So that's really nice. So nice little boost for him. 5 is the max he can hold, so now he's got 4. And it says choose one enemy engaged with the target hero. So the target hero is the Elder, and the enemy suffers 1 damage. So that's actually going to be the wonderful Nemesis. So the Nemesis is going to go from 2 damage to 3 damage because that's something that goes right past resilience. So that's perfect. So a nice little hit there against him. Sure, he's really happy about that. And that's going to do it. All right, so the Elder Monk is going to wrap up the hero phase here and with an activation. And I think I'm going to go ahead and heal because we know that I've got a total of 13 damage on this guy already, and this guy's going to hit us again. So I'd rather try to prepare for that, plus get Nature's Fury back up and running again. I don't really have any reason to try to progress and explore at this point because I'm not going to try to get over the 12 progress any further. I took advantage of it for a couple turns, but more so now I'm just trying to get some healing back. So we're going to go ahead and heal. It says you can exhaust a minion engaged with you. I don't have one, sadly. The rest will allow me to roll 1 white die, which is not bad. I do get to apply 1 defense to the results, but I have to roll 1 black die because of this Nemesis against me. It says if all of your other activation cards are exhausted, then we choose another hero. That hero recovers. Not going to happen. And then we ready everything. So let's go ahead with the roll here, see how it goes. Nice, that worked out perfectly. And actually, my mistake, guys, I should have said this in the beginning. I was planning on using 2 successes. Yes, I did this afterwards. I should be slapped. But yes, I was planning on doing that because I know I have an insane amount of damage I need to deal with. So I'm going to give myself 4 damage healing there because that was the plan, and I just forgot. So there we go. So that is resolved, done. These tokens disappear. Perfect. All right, so that worked out pretty good. And of course, all the activation cards are done. So that's actually going to conclude the hero phase. We're sitting a little bit better now. We only have 9 damage here, and we still have 2 successes to use later on. So the party leader is going to begin, and the party leader doesn't have anybody that's not already exhausted engaged with them. So we're going to go ahead and be grabbing somebody from the shadows, the Goblin Witcher. So the Goblin Witcher is going to hex if engaged. Not. It's not going to happen. Retreat's not going to happen because he's already out there, but he is going to inflict. So he's going to inflict 1 wound, which is unfortunate. And that is going to hit wonderful Krutz for 1 damage. That's going to be pretty much it for him. Now we're going to head back over to the Elder. Ah, yes, and the wonderful elder has to deal with the Wainheart nemesis. So this nemesis is going to go ahead and advance, which does nothing, but then it's going to do a blood curse, either suffer 2 damage or this enemy recovers 1 wound. I'd rather not suffer any damage, so I'll let this guy recover 1, because it's really not that big of a deal, and I'm not trying to kill him, I'm just trying to survive at this point, I think, anyway. So we'll let him recover the 1. And that's it. He's now exhausted. He's finished his turn. And we're going to head back over for the last activation of the enemy phase coming from Krutz for the last Goblin Witcher in the Shadows. All right, so Krutz is going to take this Goblin Witcher, which is going to do a Hex, which does nothing. Retreat does nothing. Inflict hits him for 1. Not fun. So this is going to flip over to a 3. So now we actually have 9 on Hex, and we have 9 on our Elder. So we are getting up there. But that's going to do it for the enemy phase. We'll go ahead, we'll ready up all of the enemies in play that we have gone ahead and activated at this point, and we'll head over to the Peril phase. All right, here we go. The Peril token is moving into the blue spot. It says, spawn 1 enemy engaged with each hero and 1 enemy face down in the shadows. So the first enemy is going to be going to Krutz as the party leader, and it's, oh no, of course the really nasty monsters are coming out now. So we got ourselves a giant minion worm. Wow, this thing does not look good. What does it do? When you suffer 1 or more wounds from this enemy, become poisoned. That's not fun. It has a blight attack, as if this enemy is engaged with you and you are poisoned, suffer more wounds, suffer 2 wounds. So it tries to poison you, and then it just tries to use that poison against you on top of it to hit you even harder. It's really bad. Okay, so that's the 1 enemy engaged with Krutz. Now we're going to go over to the Elder and find out what it's going to get. I personally don't believe the Elder's all that excited to find out what's going to come from this deck next. Oh, look at that. It's a rat swarm. That sounds fun. So we're seeing some enemies here that are much different than we did before, because remember, the enemy deck was set up differently. So we're now getting into what I believe would be some totally different enemies. We haven't seen any of these guys come out yet, so this is going to be pretty nasty. Okay, so this one here says swarm. This enemy becomes engaged with the hero with the most engaged enemies. Oh, okay, so that's going to change when it actually activates during the enemy phase. It might change who it's engaged with, because it's kind of swarming the person that has the most enemies going after them. That's fun. So that is going to be it. And the 1 card going into the shadows, along with the other Goblin Witchers that are in there. So we've got 3 cards in the shadows now, 2 that are revealed and 1 that is brand new. We have no idea what it is. Now this is going to work out really, really good, because the travel phase is up next, and we're going to go ahead definitely and pay 3, because I don't care about getting that advantage anymore. We're going to have enough progress here on this to get all the way to the end without having to deal with getting that extra engagement. So that's fantastic news. So now we're done, and we can wrap around to another round, starting off with Krutz. Let's see if we can handle this worm. All right, Krutz, you're starting us off here at the beginning of this new hero phase, and I think regrouping kind of makes sense here, because it allows me to exhaust a minion engaged with me, and I'm definitely going to go ahead and exhaust this nasty worm. I like the Goblin Archers being here engaged with me, because they won't be able to get their aim shot when they go to the enemy phase, so that's good. Next up, I get to rest, so that's always a plus, and I can also go ahead with 1 white die, only rolling 1 black die for the Archers. I get 1 defense added to the results, so here's hoping. I can't put any success tokens with it, so I just get whatever I get here. Ha! Look at that. Worked out perfectly. So I do actually go ahead and get to just knock off 1 of my wounds, which is really not much, not too worth celebrating, really. But hey, it's something. Keeps me alive. Being alive is good. And I took no attacks from the archers as well, which is good. Then it says, if all of your other cards are exhausted, claim a success. I was 1 short because I'm not really focusing on progressing the travel location. And again, guys, if you're playing a totally different scenario, that will not be the case. A lot of those other scenarios have multiple locations to progress through while you're fighting. So you will certainly be making use of this maybe more often than I am in this particular scenario. It's a very different one. We move on down to the next one, which says ready all your activation cards. So simply take off all of these markers and we're good to go. All right, so the Elder certainly has some options here, and I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to go ahead and use Nature's Fury. So what we're going to do here is it says you may become engaged with 1 enemy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose not to. I'm going to choose not to, because I'm trying to survive here. I don't want to pull something from the shadows like this random card here and see what it is. Don't want to pull a Goblin Witcher because they can hex me later on. I'd rather just keep it the way it is. So I'm not going to become engaged with another enemy. Although I could pull the no, I'm not going to, because it'll change the amount of black dice I have to roll, and I'm already happy with 2. That's bad enough as it is. It says you may exhaust one minion engaged with you, so that's good. But the downside is, look at that, I only have a nemesis and a master, so I actually can't even use that either. So it's actually kind of making me wonder whether I want to do that at all. I don't want to heal. I don't want to forage. I could natural remedy to give my other character some aid. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. Let me see. Is natural remedy a better idea here? The target hero may ready one activation card. No, that's not going to be useful either. That's not going to do anything. Yeah, I'm kind of in a spot where I don't really need to be doing anything with either of these two that are, like, I'll be missing out on a couple of these things here. So I'll just keep on going with Nature's Fury. So we'll roll 3 white dice. I'm going to make an attack. I'm going to add some successes in to make sure it gets through. So we're going after the Rat Swarm is the one that I can actually kill. So I'll be rolling 3, but I have to put in 2 black dice for the 2 enemies. I've already got 2. I only need 2 more to kill this Rat Swarm. So let's see what happens. All right, so what do we get here? So the blanks don't matter. We got a critical and we got 2. So I'll go ahead and put an extra success in for the extra critical that I got. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to re-roll that critical, see if we get anything else. Ha! Another critical. Look at that. Love it. Let's keep going. 2 more successes. Jeez. Okay, so wow. Total of 8 successes, which is obscene. Of course, when you get 8 successes, you're going after a rat swarm that nobody wants to kill anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and use 4 of those. So I'll use all these successes basically to kill off the rat swarm, but we still have to deal with it in a second. And we have 4 other successes that basically go down the drain because it can only target 1. I don't think I can actually target anybody else. No. So it's just going to be the rat swarm. The rest of them go away. I don't get to put them on him, sadly. So this guy will die, but I did go ahead and trigger this, so I have to go ahead and deal with this next, which says either suffer a damage or this enemy recovers a health. Fine, I'll let him recover a health, because again, victory conditions for this game says at the start of the peril phase, if the peril marker is at the end or the last space of the peril track, you win. So it's not about killing him, it's just about dealing with him. Basically not becoming completely surrounded and outnumbered, and so far I've been doing okay with that, so I'm not focusing on killing him. So I'm okay with him healing. That's perfectly fine. I just don't want to take damage and risk dying. So that's good there, and that's going to be it, I think, because the shield really doesn't do anything for me in this case, and again, these 4 successes are useless. So we've paid those up. We'll take those away, and this rat swarm is going to disappear, which is wonderful. 1 last card to deal with. And do we have anything else? Yes, we get to claim a success token back. So the very bottom of Nature's Fury lets us have one back. And that's going to do it. We'll go to the second activation for Krutz. All right, so Krutz is definitely going to get a little bit more aggressive here. Let's do the Oath of Honor. Let's do something crazy here. So it says you may become engaged with 1 enemy. So I know that I can hit the Goblin Archers and stuff like that. I know I have the Worm here. It's exhausted anyway. I might as well just go ahead and pull an enemy from the shadows here, so it's 1 less hit that I have to take later on. And then I can hopefully kind of hit it with some damage. The only downside is if I pull this guy, they're going to hex me. So I kind of want to pull one of the enemies from the shadows. So maybe I'll do that. I'll pull the enemy from the shadow. Oh, look at this. I'm just doing this because I'm a little bit nuts. But I want to show you guys this. I just pulled this guy, the Crow Hag. Now, normally if you're at this point in the game, you're not going to pull a random and you're not going to flip over the card from the shadows because that would be absolutely insane. But that's what Krutz is. He's hell-bent on killing everything he sees. He's insane, just like me. So I'm bringing this individual in at the very, very last moment to see what kind of insanity this is going to do in terms of twisting how this could end. So now that we have the Crow Hag here, it says you may become engaged. So yeah, we grabbed him in. So these are the things he's going to do if he's available and ready on the enemy phase. He has Life Thirst that says this enemy becomes engaged with the hero with the most exhausted activation cards. So right now that's a tie, so that doesn't do much. It'll stay where it is, or I could choose. Death Omen says if the hero engaged with this enemy is weakened, they become poisoned. If that hero's poisoned, they become weakened. So that's not as bad as it sounds. But what's really kind of ironic here is the Crow Hag has 3 resilience. So if you're going to try to attack this thing to kill it, this is actually the perfect character to have it on, because my wonderful ability, if I even kill the Goblin Archers, lets me put 1 wound straight through on somebody. I can kill the Crow Hag like it's nothing. So it's fantastic that actually panned out the way it did. I picked the right one because Goblin Witchers, if they had to come down, they would have had a Hex. They would have hit me, maybe weakened and all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy with this. So let's go ahead and do an attack. So we got 3 white dice going into this attack. I have no bonus success tokens I can use. We can choose another target that's engaged with the other heroes. So basically I'm going to target Wainhart over here. He's not becoming engaged. I don't think that he is. He's actually just a targetable character that I can hit with my Oath of Honor, as I've been doing all the way along. It says right here. And then if that hero has 2 or more exhausted cards, which it doesn't, then I gain some extra hits in defense, but I don't get that, sadly. So I get 3, and I got to roll 2 black dice because I have 3 engaged enemies. This one does not count as an engaged enemy. That's a target from the other guy. And so I got to put 2 black dice in the pile, see what happens. So let's find out. Oh, perfect roll. So we got some blanks, so literally no attacks at all from the enemies. Phenomenal. We got 4, and actually I was kind of silly because I didn't tell you guys who I was actually picking to attack. But I already exhausted the worm, so in my head I was targeting the archers because I just wanted to blow them away. So the archers are going to be taking this damage, but again, I also targeted this guy here. I just didn't mention that this was my target, even though it's kind of obvious. So this one here is going to take 2 damage, so we'll put 2 successes on him. He will die. And then the Wainhart here is going to take 2, but that will do nothing because his resilience is going to block it anyway. So the goblin archers are going to die, so these guys are going to be removed from the game. The funny thing is now is that I get, because I defeated an enemy, my ability says I can put a wound on any enemy. I'll put it on the crow hag, kills it instantly, which is fantastic. So that resilience is like a joke when it comes to Krutz when he's wielding his axes, and nothing happens here to Wainhart. So basically this targetable enemy kind of goes back over. It never left in the first place, but I just moved it over so you guys could see it. That's it. That's going to resolve that, and there's really nothing else I can do on this side. So that was pretty good. That worked out pretty good. Now we're going to head over to the Elder's second activation to end out the hero phase. Yeah, and just to be safe here, we might as well go ahead and heal ourselves. Nothing else, there's no point in actually attacking this guy. So really, we're going to rest with 1 white die. We take 1 black die for the readied enemy. We're going to roll it. I get a defense going into this roll. So I have 1 defense plus 2 defense. This guy's going to hit me for 3. So I have 2 defense. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 1 damage gets through. So I'll go ahead and resolve that right now. And then I got a hit. I did have a success that I essentially, again, should have just told you that I was using because we're at the very last round of this game. So that's 2 successes, which allows me to heal 2 back. So basically one of these 3s turns into a 1. Boom. That is it. We're going to go ahead and here, we don't get the advantage of this other bullet for all the exhausted cards, but we do get to recover everything. I really just did this to ensure that my character stays alive for as much as possible. So with Krutz as the party leader, we have a Goblin Witcher up here. The Hex does nothing, Retreat does nothing, Inflict hits for 1. So we'll just flip one of these 1s to a 3. That's easily resolved. Just like that. We'll head back over to the Elder to resolve the Wainhart Nemesis. Alright, and the Wainhart Nemesis here is going to do an advance. It's already engaged, so it won't advance from the shadows. And it's going to do a Blood Curse. It's going to either suffer 2 damage for us, or the enemy recovers 1. I'll let him recover 1. I don't plan on killing him anyway. Perfect. This worked out flawlessly. So he's now exhausted, and now we're going to deal with a Goblin Witcher in the shadows. Things are looking pretty good, I'd say. So we're going to go ahead now and have the Goblin Witcher activate. Again, only inflicting 1 wound, and it's going to be coming at Krutz. There we go. So 10 damage on him. No problem at all. Everybody's been dealt with, so we'll bring everyone back up to a ready state. And now we're going to head into the peril phase. Ah, rats, I got a little too excited. I thought that was the last round. It's actually going to be after this next round coming up, because the victory condition says at the start of the peril phase, if the peril marker is on the last space of the peril track, we win. So currently right now in this peril phase, this moves here. So we have 1 more round to survive through, which I think we should be able to do. Famous last words. And we're on a blue space. So it says spawn an enemy engaged with each of the heroes, and then 1 more in the shadows. So just another set of nastiness coming at us. Hopefully we can handle it. So the first friend coming for Krutz to be engaged with him is, oh my goodness, what is this? A changeling? Oh, that does not look good. Wow, and he's a master too. It's a master. I don't know what it is. It's a thing, but it's bad. So that thing just came engaged with him. Mimic says this enemy activates using the effect bar and abilities of the highest difficulty face-up enemy in play. That is not a changeling. Oh, crazy. So wow, that's aggressive. If there are no other face-up enemies in play, this enemy becomes engaged with you. So it's mimicking another enemy that's really, really powerful in play. Over here, the Elder is going to get, oh, classic, another changeling. Oh my goodness, 2 of these guys are coming after us now. Oh, this is a little bit worrisome. Okay, well, that's what it is. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take 1 of these cards from the deck and we're placing it up in the shadows. We have no idea what it is. It'll sit up here. Based on the last 2, I got a funny feeling it could be a changeling. Maybe not. Don't know. All right, well, this situation definitely requires me to do a little bit of resting and attacking, I think. I don't think there's much else I want to do. Hold them off makes no sense here because basically I'm not going to bother trying to aid the Elder. That all I can really do is just throw 1 damage on one of his enemies. It does not enough to kill them at this point because the actual health in these guys has gone way up from like 1s to like 4s. They're all 4 or higher now. So I need some serious attacks to actually make anything work. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually activate Regroup so we can exhaust a minion engage with you. The good news is we know that Worm is still a minion, so it's nice having him there, so at least I can keep on tapping him over. The rest allows me to roll 1 white die. I get a black die because we have a changeling here, and I get 1 defense going into the roll. I don't have any criticals to use, so wish me luck. Nice. Basically nothing happens. That was the most useless rest ever. So I basically went to sleep and barely even recovered a single point of wounds, mainly because I'm looking at a giant worm and a really strange creature. So then it says if all your other activation cards are exhausted, claim a success. Nope. And then ready all your cards. Done. So now we're moving over to the Elder. All right, I've got a plan here, so I'm probably going to do Nature's Fury. That's probably the most obvious choice here for 2 reasons. One, I can become engaged with another enemy, so I can actually bring one of these Goblin Witchers down in order to try to defeat it. I am not going to flip over that Shadow card like I did last time and engage a random. That'd be really, really bad. Now, the other thing, too, is I may not want to do this. I may not want the Goblin Witcher down here because it means I'm rolling more black dice, which means I could take more damage, and that might just be a silly choice. So I'm going to actually choose not to do that because, again, the Hex from that card is just not worth it. If I don't end up killing it, you know, it's not going to give me any positive benefits. So it says you may become engaged. I'm not going to. The next one says you may exhaust a minion engaged with you. I'll certainly exhaust that changeling to stop it from dealing or from having to deal with it during the enemy phase. Now I'm going to attack. Now I could choose to kill the changeling or I could go after this guy. But again, knowing that we have to go after this guy is pointless because he's just here and he's basically just being a pain. But he's not. I don't have to worry about him. The worst I'm going to get from him is a 3 off a black die, which is still bad. Or we're going to get hit for 2 damage. So it's still a lot. But I think I'm just going to go after the enemy that's down because damage on this guy, I'm never going to get enough to actually take down an 18 strength enemy. So we're going with this with 3 white dice. I have no criticals to add to this, and I've got 1 black die added in because, of course, he's here. So we're targeting the changeling. Got a blank and 3 successes. Wow. So actually, I didn't even have enough to kill it yet. No. So I end up putting 3 damage on this guy, but I don't even end up killing him, sadly. Maybe Krutz can do that extra point of damage that I need. That actually worked out pretty good. So that's pretty much it. That resolves that. The shields are essentially useless. And the good news is I do claim 1 success token, so that'll help me later on. Let's head back over to Krutz for the second activation. All right, Krutz, time for your second activation. You guys know what I'm doing here. Oath of Honor. So we may become engaged with another enemy if we want. I'm choosing not to. My attack gives me 3 white dice. I have 1 readied enemy against me right now, the changeling. This is going to be my target of attack for sure. And I can choose another target from my other hero to hit if I want. So I'm going to be choosing this as my target to hit. Hopefully enough to kill it. And now we're going to go ahead and roll these. I don't have any success tokens to add to this roll, so it's just whatever I get. Okay, so we got ourselves 2 successes, which is not that great at all. And I can choose to divide this up however I want. There's no point in putting the 2 damage on the changeling because it's not going to kill him. I'd rather hit the this changeling for 1 to kill this one off. I got a blank black result anyway, so I don't have to deal with actually triggering this guy's 2 damage. So we're all good there. This changeling is going to die, so that's good. I've helped out the Elder. And then we're going to be able to, we've used, let me see here, 1 damage there, so we have 1 more damage to give. We can put 1 damage on this targeted changeling that we did here. That's pretty much it. And now it says, after resolving your attack action for each enemy you defeated, which I defeated a changeling, choose 1 enemy, engage with you, and hit him again. So I'm going to hit the second one. I might as well just hit the changeling again for a second hit. There we go. I love that ability. It's so cool, especially when you start getting some big hits. And that's going to do it. I didn't get the additional bonus of the 2 hits and defense from here because on the other side, Nature's Fury is the only one exhausted and I needed 2 or more. That'll do it for the second activation for Krutz, heading back over to the Elder Monk. All right, and we're going into the end of the hero phase, and we're in really the end of the game. So healing myself has to make sense here. Now, we've been doing this back and forth, attack, heal, for the past couple rounds because I'm near the end of the game, and I'm not in trouble wounds-wise. So I've been kind of going back and forth on those 2 quite a bit, you might have noticed. Again, this is very different scenario than some of the other ones I've played, where you really have to be progressing the story, and once you have to start using this card more often to progress access to locations, it gets really tough. And of course, it's also all up to card draws and how you play as well, that things can pan out very differently very quickly. But we're going to heal for sure. Lets us exhaust a minion engage with me. I don't have one. Lets me rest for 1 white die, but I got to put a black die in there too. I can add a success to it, which I will, because I only have 1. We'll roll these off. Nice. So I got 2 successes, which means I can remove 2 wounds. That'll help me, keep me alive for the end of the game. Not all of my other activations are exhausted, so I don't get a benefit. Take these tokens off, and we're done. That is going to do it. That is the end of that activation. Now we're going to go into the enemy phase, starting off with Krutz. All right, so starting off the enemy phase for Krutz, we have the Changeling. He mimics the strongest enemy in play in terms of its AI. So it says it's the effect bar and the abilities. So it's both. So really we're going to take Wainheart, which is the nastiest enemy we have. So an advance, a blood curse. So either suffer 2 wounds or this enemy recovers 1 wound. So in this particular case, I'm okay with having the Changeling recover 1 wound because it doesn't put any damage on me. Next up, and that's of course going to exhaust this Changeling. So now both engaged monsters with Krutz are done. This one was already exhausted. We'll head back over to the Elder to deal with Wainheart. So now Wainheart is going to go ahead and activate. It's another blood curse, except I have to take the 2 damage because I have nothing to heal off this guy this time. So we're going to take 2 damage and drop it on our Elder, unfortunately. And that's all we can do. We exhaust and we head back over to Krutz, and we're going to be going to the shadows now. Now we're going to resolve these other enemies all back and forth really quickly. So Krutz is first. He'll take a Goblin Witcher attack, so that's going to be 1 damage. We'll bring him up to a total of 11. And then we're going to come back over here to the Elder. The Elder is going to take this hit, which is going to be 1 hit going to the Elder. This is going to actually really just convert one of his 1s to a 3. It's going to convert, it's going to convert the 2 ones he already has, to a total of 3 with the additional wound that this one just gave him. So he's got 9 total. And now that one's exhausted. And then Krutz is going to take the last one. And the last one is a Crow Hag. And from here it says Life Thirst. This enemy becomes engaged with the hero with the most exhausted activation cards. So that is Krutz. And then Death Curse or Death Omen is now going to trigger. It says if the hero engaged with this enemy is weakened, they become poisoned. And if that hero is poisoned, they become weakened. So actually nothing happens because I'm neither of those things. That's a great one to get right now. And that's going to do it for all the enemies. They've all been exhausted. I'll leave them exhausted because we're now going to move over to the peril phase where we have won the game. All right, guys, and you can see the peril track cannot advance any further. We're on the final piece of that peril track, and it says victory at the start of the peril phase. If the peril marker is on the last space of the peril track, you win. Read the victory on the back of this sheet. A blinding flash emanates from the Archivist's staff, and the waves of foes shrink away from it, retreating into the shadows. The air is unnaturally still again. I'm not sure how long that will last, she says, sliding a few choice tomes into her bag. Best to leave while we can with whatever we can carry. You aren't inclined to argue. All right, guys, that's going to conclude our journey into Heroes of Terrinoth. The showcase is now concluded. I really hope this gives you a good idea, a good feel for how Heroes of Terrinoth plays. Again, these are all one-shot scenarios in the core box, and one thing that the community really is driving in terms of comments and feedback is a campaign system. A lot of people want to see that campaign system implemented into this Heroes of Terrinoth game, and I do as well. I really think it would flush this system out even better and also allow for some carryover between campaigns and between our characters as they build up. I think that'd be really cool, something they could easily implement into this, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we hear an announcement about that sometime in the future, but hopefully this gives you a great idea as to whether or not this is something that you feel is going to work for you. I believe that this is a great solo game. This is one of the games that landed on my top 10 games released in 2018 core experiences. This is definitely one of them. I really enjoy this one thus far, and this was actually a really fun scenario to play through with you guys. This scenario I played through for the first time with you guys. I'd played a number of these other scenarios off camera, but this is the the one that I decided to do with you guys. A little bit tougher than the original introductory scenarios, just because I thought it'd be a little fun, and we managed to pull it off. So it's pretty awesome. So thank you guys for all your feedback along the way, as well as rule corrections and all that kind of stuff. That was great to get that feedback so we could correct that as we went along. Thank you guys. There will definitely be another showcase around the corner here. I'm not going to let any secrets out of the bag, unless of course you want to join our Rolling Solo Facebook community, where I may have dropped a hint as to what is coming next. Thank you all for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.